So today we are talking about how to build a better business. And I want to jump in and say welcome to everyone. And we're going to just do a little bit of an introduction. And I am Kathy Benner. And we've got one more gal here. It looks like she just jumped on, Angela. So we're going to click her through. So I'm Kathy Benner. I am in Canal, Winchester. Oh, we have somebody that's getting some echo there. So I'm in Canal, Winchester, and I have an academy. Welcome, Angela. I have an academy called the Kathy Benner International Academy. And so we're going to be talking about storytelling today. Last time we were on, we talked about our VPS and how to write our value proposition statement and how to introduce ourselves. And sometimes it's kind of hard because you're like, well, what comes first? Don't I need to write my story first and then figure out how I'm going to introduce myself from my story? Or do I write who I am and what I do for whom and then write my story? And I'm here to tell you, it kind of all goes together. And here's what I found happened with me is I started from the top with my VPS on what I thought I wanted to offer my audience or offer, to the world at large. And as I developed my products and services and went through building my business, I ended up going back and changing that and actually modifying it, making it more precise to what it actually was that I wanted to do. And so I've been at this for 4 or 5 years. And just recently, I even changed that from being a coach, I was more comfortable being a mentor. That's kind of my sweet spot. That's where I like to function. And so you can see right here in my little Hollywood square, I even changed it right there to say passive income mentor. And so as you're building your business, you're going to become, and this is your aha moment for this call, is as you're building your business, you're going to become a different person as your business unfolds. You're going to decide that you like this lane better than that lane. You like this product better than that product. You like offering this service better than that service. And as that happens, then you start to decide, how do I want to present myself to the world? And as that goes along, you do start tailor making, so to speak, the way that you present yourself. And so I am a passive income mentor. And I'm going to show my website later and because that's what I'm going to be teaching from today and show you how to get over there. But for now, I just want to go around the room and it's kind of in the order that I see you on my screen, and everybody's screen looks a little different, I know. So Mason is top center at the top for me. So I'm going to start with Mason and tell us your name, where you're coming to us from, and what type of a business that you're working on. Mason?
So my name is Mason Van Dyke. I am actually out of Newark, Ohio, which is about 40 miles east of Columbus, Ohio. In terms of business, I consider myself a writer, and we'll see where it goes from there. My main passion is more sharing things that either I'm going through or I know people have gone through. Being a little more vulnerable with the intent of showing someone else that you're not alone. It's kind of where I'm heading. That's where I'm comfortable right now. What I've learned over time is the more vulnerable I am, even though I intended, I seem to connect more with folks. That's not meant as a humble brag. That's actually a surprised statement on my part.
That's because they feel comfortable with you. The more you are vulnerable, the more they feel that they're seeing the real you, and they can kind of let down their wall and show you the real them. So that's what that's all about. So that's perfect. So as your business unfolds, you're becoming more and more vulnerable. So you're becoming a different person, and I love that. Or else you're just letting your wall down to let everybody see who you really are. So I really love that, Mason. So good for you. Linda, how about you?
Hi, I'm Linda Thomas. I'm the founder of the Legacy of Love Project, and I'll be speaking a little bit more later on, but in a nutshell, what I do is I help people create their own unique, personalized end-of-life plan so they can be a blessing to their loved ones instead of a burden.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Thank you. And where are you?
I am in Western Pennsylvania, pretty close to the Ohio border, near Pittsburgh.
Okay. I love it. Christy, how about you?
I'm Christy Hawkins, and I am coming to you from Newark, Ohio as well. As far as a business, right now I'm currently taking care of my 97-year-old grandmother. I moved in with her. It'll be 2 years in August. My home is in Mount Vernon, but I live here with her now until the end. But recently I have just gotten my insurance license, so I do have going to be starting an insurance business. And my love is always real estate. I always, that's always what I will want to be doing, always want to do. And someday I'll figure out a way to be able to do it. But yeah.
Yes,
that's
absolutely. Absolutely. Now, for insurance, what are you, you're getting ready to be a salesperson in insurance. So what is it, life and health or property and casualty?
Yes, it is life and health.
Okay.
And then there's something else that I can do as well, but I'm not 100% sure what that is yet.
Okay. Okay.
That's terrible because it's a whole new, I've just always only been in real estate. I don't know anything about anything else. So it's a whole new language, whole new everything.
I get it. I get it. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm going in order, so I don't want to put anybody on the spot. If I circle around on my screen, I have Debbie next. Debbie, how about you?
Good afternoon. My name is Debbie Marks, and I am southeast of Columbus in a small town called Pleasantville, which actually is just near Buckeye Lake. So think of the lake is where I am. I am a wellness educator. I'm a speaker, and I'm an author. And I'm excited to be here today because I think the month of January I was in and out. So I literally wasn't here. And I have taken on the word urgency for my word for this year. I have things to get finished. And so thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. I love it. Sherry, how about you?
Hey, everybody. I call myself the lesson plan whisperer because I'm out there helping teachers understand when to put strategic interventions into their lesson plan that are going to re-engage the cognitive aspects of their academics. So I work on the non-academics. They're working on the academics. And so I'm helping them strategically plan that non-academic moment.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sherry. Estella, how about you? It looks like you're in the car.
I am, and I haven't pulled off, so I'm going to talk now.
Okay.
I live in the Columbus, Ohio, New Albany area, and what I do is, how when people have situations come up in their life, they're frustrated and they can't afford to find out legally what their rights are. Well, I help people get access to their rights for a very almost nominal cost. So that's primarily what I do. My background is in human resources, and so I help small businesses and their employees have access to legal services and identity theft services.
I love that. Okay, pay attention because we're all sharing what we do, and I know that there's some of us on here is going to need somebody else's services. So make notes. Okay, Angela, how about you?
Hi, I'm Angela Clark. I teach from Grove City, which is just a little bit above where Kathy lives. So it's just south of Columbus. I teach, I was teaching retired women how to make homemade greeting cards, but I just had a 5-day challenge and I had a couple men sign up. So maybe I have to change that. And I just recently wrote an ebook. So I guess I can consider myself an author now too.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Angela. Let's jump over to Ruth, and then I see Ashley has her hand up. Ashley, are you wanting to come up now? I'll see if you want to. we've got Elise tapping in, so we're going to bring her up. Ruth, how about you?
Hi, I'm Ruth Pearson. I live in Kansas at a little lake out here. And my sweet spot is helping people take their relationships to the next level. And that can be any relationship. I'm like Estelle, I have a background in HR. So I can do the professional, but I also have been married for many, many, many years. So I can do the marriage and I can do the friends. And I just feel like I get a lot of insights, generally speaking, but also to individuals on what can take their relationships forward. And with that, I'll close off.
Thank you, Ruth. Ashley, how about you? Oh, you're on mute, sweetie. You got to click your mute button there.
Sorry about that. So I am in Middletown, Ohio. So about exactly between Dayton and Cincinnati. So I am a real estate agent. I work with pretty much anybody, whether you're a first-time home buyer or an investor or the likes. And then also I am I have a ministry for women that they've been through whatever they've been through, whatever their heart is, whatever they need. We meet for coffee, we meet for breakfast, we meet for lunch, and they just get to talk and have somebody who listens and just loves them for who they are, no matter what they've been through.
So Ashley, that's wonderful. Yes, thank you for that.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Eric,
Yes.
how about you? You want to unmute? We'll wait just a second. See if Eric wants to share. How about Diona? Would you like to unmute and share where you're from and what it is that you do?
And sure, I'm calling from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay.
Basically just finishing an executive coaching program right now, and have plans to essentially be a life or business coach and life transition in general.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. And lastly, we have Elise. Elise, are you with us there? Ah,
Hey.
she's outside in nature. Look at her.
I am. It's CEO day. Got to be outside. I needed some outside today. I spent all
I get
weekend
it.
in a tournament. Hi, my name's Elise Butler. I am coming to you from Reynoldsburg, Ohio. So that's kind of southeast of Columbus. And I am an executive publishing assistant who helps small business owners, creatives, and coaches to focus on the money while I do the mundane, like building their courses and their websites. So it's wonderful to meet all of you.
I love it. Elise, welcome. Now, did I miss anyone? Raise your hand if I did. I don't think I did. There's 13 of us on, and I think I got through everyone. Now, I want to talk today, and again, I'm going to share my screen. So for those of you that are my co-mods, pay attention if somebody else jumps in the call. But in the meantime, I'm going to share my screen. And this is the homepage of my website. Can everybody see that okay? Yes. And the reason that I want to share my screen, I got to move some of my stuff around. I know that you guys can't see it on your end, but I got to move a little bit of stuff around so I can see it. When you look at my website, one of the things that I want to bring to your attention is right up front, it tells kind of what I do. You know, it has all of my strategies right here. And here is my VPS, which we talked about last week. And I update this periodically, but I am teaching you how to be healthy and how to create passive income. I'm coaching you how to get there faster so you can design your path so that you can experience freestyle living. So that is what my VPS is. That's what I'm bringing to the world. However, nobody really cares until they know my story. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to scroll back to the top here. This picture is just a fun picture. Again, when you're building a website, and Sherry and I, we've talked about this extensively, is you want your top banner to show what everyone's life could look like if they work with you. And this picture just said fun to me. This picture just said freestyle living and it's fun. And here's Debbie in the picture. Over here's Mark. He's my significant other. There's me in the middle with not so gray hair as I have now. But anyhow, the long and the short of it is we're not going to talk about the picture on the website because we're not going to talk about website design today. What we're going to talk about today is that your storytelling is your marketing. Nobody wants to be sold. Everybody wants to buy. And so I'm here to tell you, you have to craft your story. And it has to be a story that you've crafted, or else you go down these rabbit trails. And so, for example, I can actually put myself out there and say, I can be a speaker. I could do it anytime. You could call on me right this minute and say, Kathy, our speaker didn't show up. We've got a Chamber of Commerce lunch and we need a speaker. All I have to do is show up and tell my story. See, you've got your story is the cornerstone of your business, because for most of us, the reason we're doing what we're doing is because we struggled with that very thing. You know, folks that want to show you how to publish a book struggled getting their first book published. And once they figured it out, they said, okay, let me help somebody else now that I figured it out. Somebody that's had bad health that runs across a great product and now their health is amazing. They want to share how they figured that out. And so the story is important, because when you walk into a room, and I'm going to use health as an example. When you walk into the room, you could say, they say, oh, Kathy, who are you and what do you do? And I go, oh, I'm Kathy and I'm selling this product and it's amazing and everybody in this room should buy it. And everybody's going to go, oh, that's nice, but we really don't know Kathy. We don't know anything about the product. We're not really ready to let go of our hard-earned money just because Kathy walked into the room and said we should buy this product. But if I walk into the room and I tell my story, and they go, who are you? And what do you, I go, oh, I'm Kathy. And, I was, and I'm going to make this up, I was 400 pounds and now I've lost all this weight. And I ran across this great product and it changed my life so much that I decided that I really needed to sign on. And now I can help other folks that struggle with the same issue that I had. And now all of a sudden, everybody in the room that is interested in losing weight is kind of like, what? Tell me more, because they connected to my story. I'm not selling them. I'm simply sharing my story. So number one thing that I want you to do is I want you to make a note of this website right here, kathybinner.com. So write that down, and maybe one of my co-mods can throw that in the chat, kathybinner.com. because that's where you'll find right here my story. Now, the reason I have it on my website is simply because I know my storytelling is my marketing. Nobody cares anything about any of all this. Step 1, attend a free meetup. Step 2, buy a course. Step 3, join the tribe. Step 4, get some coaching. Go with us on our tribe trips. Nobody cares about any of that. All they care about is, does Kathy get me? Does she understand where I'm struggling? And so my story is my marketing. So no matter what I write, I want to include my story. So if I'm doing a Facebook post, it has to have a little bit of my story. If I'm doing a blog post, it has to have a little bit of my story. If I'm doing a magazine article, it has to have some of my story. So that's the whole point, is your storytelling is your marketing. Now, I'm going to click on Kathy's story, and this is the second thing. Once you save that website, kathybinner.com, go to the Kathy's story page right here. And here is what I want to give to you today. You'll see these prompts are a little bit darker. They're in bold. And then you see this sentence. It's done in bullet points. And then I turned it into a sentence. So here is my story. And I'm not going to read the story. You guys can go, once you go to kathybinner.com, you can read it. But here's the point. I am using what's called Hero's Journey. And so let me jump over, and I'm going to come back to this. Here is, with Chat GPT, for those of you that don't know, it's an artificial intelligence. I ask it, what are the different ways to tell a story? These are the ways. The 3-act structure, the 5-act structure, Save the Cat, The Hero's Journey, Romancing the Beat, or Dan Harmon's Story Circle. Now, we're not going to talk about writing today and getting into all of these different ways to tell a story. I'm using the hero's journey. So just so you know how it fits in. So if you're writing an ebook, if you're writing a short story, if you're writing a whole novel, if you're writing a website, no matter what it is, you want to have it in story form, because everybody follows a story. We all love to watch you know, the TV, you know, the Bachelor and all, because we want to see how the story ends. We love movies because we love to see the story unfold. And it's just in human nature to love the story. Disney made famous on their story of Once Upon a Time, but then and now. And so you can write all your stories under one of these structures. I'm going to show you the hero's journey today. And I just jumped over to show you that. So now we go back to my story, and this is the hero's journey. Now the hero's journey, and I'll give you an overview. It starts at the top, picture it like a big circle, and it starts at the top of Once Upon a Time, and it goes right in line with the whole Disney story brand. Once upon a time, here's where I was. But then I discovered this, and I thought I had it made, but I struggled and struggled some more and finally had my aha moment. And now I'm coming out of the pits and I'm making it happen. And so now I want to help other people learn the same thing I learned. And so that's what my business is now, whether it's a health food product, whether it's writing, helping somebody write a story, whether it is selling legal services like Estella, doesn't matter what it is. You start with your story. Once upon a time, here's where I was, and here's why this product made such a big difference in my life. And so that's what you're trying to do, is tell your story. And so I start off, and I want you to remember this page because I want you to steal it. I want you to come over here under KathyBenner.com and go to Kathy's story and steal these prompts, the bolded prompts. I left them bold like this so that I could use this in a teaching moment like today. Steal these prompts. So let me tell you a quick story. Here's where I was once upon a time. I was a single mom, 2 jobs, blah, blah, blah. Then something happened. My mom sat me down, had a talk with me, you know, blah, blah, blah. At the end, or at that time, I had no idea the impact that would have. The problem was, see, so now you're just filling in the prompts. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, oh boy, the bottom fell out. And then I was on the downhill slide because of these things that were caused by the bottom falling out. Well, needless to say, how did I feel? This paragraph is so important. This is the paragraph that's going to connect you with your readers or with your buyers. When they, and this is what Mason was talking about earlier, that the more authentic he became, the more folks were willing to connect with him because they realized how he felt and they could connect. They said, yes, I feel like that too. And that's what your story is meant to do. It's meant to have your buyer or your reader relate to how you're feeling because they feel that way. And that makes them relate to you. And so that's when you truly hit rock bottom. And this meant these are the things you had to do to try to dig yourself out. And that's when you had an aha moment and you decided that you're going to finally pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And then something happened that changed everything. Your life started to smooth over. And that was the spark you needed. And then here's what happened next. And then one day you realized that you were forever changed and that now you saw yourself differently. And that's why you couldn't stop there. But now you're ready to help other folks learn the same thing. Okay. And that makes you feel like there's so much more to do. And then what you want your reader or your buyer to take away from all of this is that they can do it too. So I don't want to lose this page. We're going to come back to it, but I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. Comments, questions. What are your thoughts on this so far? Has anyone ever seen this or have written your hero's journey? I know Ruth has, I know Sherry has, I know Debbie has. Any comments?
Sorry, Ashley, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, you're muted.
Sorry, no, I've never written mine. I've had people ask me to write my story many times. actually just recently. I was talking to the T-Mobile guy because there's a whole thing there, but he begged me to make a TikTok about it and use certain hashtags so that he could put a face with a name and see how the story works its way out. So I've never done it, but it is something I'm trying to figure out how to put on paper.
Well, use my prompts and give that a try. And you might have a hard time deciding where you want to start with the prompts, because your very first prompt is you're trying to decide the once upon a time stage. And so again, when I share, and I'm going to go back to the top, the very first prompt is, let me tell you a quick story. So the hardest part for some of you is, where do I start with my story? Do I start when I'm 5? Do I start when I was in high school? Do I start from my first job? Do I start with my first failure? I mean, you have to make a decision where your story is going to start. And sometimes that's a hard one. Sometimes you have to maybe do it a couple of times and then go, you know, a lot of that early stuff really wasn't relevant. I need to shorten up the hero's journey. I need to start maybe from my first job, or maybe the first time I tried to be an entrepreneur. I don't need to start when I was in junior high, you know, when I got bullied by the kid down the hall. So you have to kind of decide where you want that to start. And so because my products and services, and I'll just give some examples here, because my products and services are all about creating passive income. I started when I was a single mom, struggling, working 2 minimum wage jobs. You see how that's relevant to the products and services that I'm trying to offer. It wasn't relevant that, you know, I got, you know, maybe, I don't know, knocked down on the playground when I was in 6th grade. That's probably not relevant to what I'm trying to offer. So you have to start with something that's relevant. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that is helpful.
Okay. Anyone else? Mason?
2 things. Also, when you're working on your story, you're probably going to write multiple versions of it, because there's a certain level of comfort. There's some things you're willing to share, some things you don't realize. So when you first write it, you're going to go, oh my gosh, I don't want to share this. But then you'll get comfortable as to what you do and what you don't. You know, your private life is your private life, but there are aspects you want to share in terms of connecting to folks and relating to folks. And then, good, I see Angela raised her hand because I wanted to address her question in the chat. So I'll be quiet and let her do her own question. So.
Yes, Angela.
Well, mine has nothing to do with a lot like what you guys do, because I'm just a creative person trying to teach something. So I have an about you page, and I did start from when I was a child, because that's when it all started, but that's very small part of my story. And then I have about why I'm teaching it. Is that?
Yeah,
okay?
that's your story. Yes. Now,
Okay.
here's what I want to kind of instill in everyone that's listening to the conversation today. Once you have your hero's journey, once you have that story, you can shorten up that story. If you only have, you know, if let's say I want to turn it into my elevator speech, my 30-second commercial, everybody's like, well, Kathy, who are you? Yeah, I was a single mom, but, you know, I learned how to have passive income, and now I can help you have passive income. So I can make it that short. Or if somebody says, Kathy, can you talk for an hour to, and several of us on here into real estate, so that they say, can you talk for an hour to a group of real estate professionals? I certainly can. I can say, oh yeah, once upon a time, I was this single mom working 2 minimum wage jobs, but, you know, throughout my story as it unfolds, I had this aha moment to invest in real estate. And I didn't read my story, but if you read that back over there on my website, you'll see where the real estate is a piece of it. And then I can say, here's how I bought my first, you know, I can just, it's my story. I don't have to have it written down. I don't have to have notes to give a speech. I don't have to say, oh my gosh, I got invited to be a public speaker and I don't know what I'm going to talk about, and I'm all nervous and you know, what am I going to do? I can just go up there and tell my story, and I can say, here's how I got my first property. You know, I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but here's how it happened. And here's how I struggled. And here's how I finally figured out the financing. And then I had to figure out the zoning, and then I had to figure out how to fix it. And then I had to figure out how I was going to rent it, you know, and I can talk for an hour on real estate. And so, but again, part of my story is I got into the salon industry. And so if somebody says, Kathy, we want you to talk to a group of hairstylists. Okay, I can talk for an hour about, my aha moment and what made me decide to get into real estate, because it's my story. See, it doesn't matter whether I have notes or not, because I'm just talking from the heart. I'm like Mason, I'm just being authentic and telling my story. And because I tell my story, folks are leaning in. And I had a mentor once tell me, he said, it's a lot easier to kiss when you're leaning in. And so when you're telling your story, your customers and your clients are going to start leaning in. If you're just trying to sell them something, they're going to lean out. Does that make sense? And so you want your customers and clients to kind of lean in. And that's why your story is so important. Now, if they ask me, just talk to our Chamber of Commerce luncheon, our speaker didn't show up, it's a 40-minute program, we need you to talk for about 20 minutes. I can just talk about business in general, which is pretty much what my page is on my website, the Kathy Story. I can just talk about how, I was a single mom, and then I had an aha moment, got into the salon business. And once I witnessed how the salon business worked, I realized that I could actually buy my own building. And because of buying my own building, I then realized how I could create some income for myself or create a retirement for myself. And now I want to show other folks how to do that as well. And I can just talk for a good 20 minutes just about my hero's journey. And then at the end, I can offer my services, and I've got an academy, and anybody that wants to join, blah, 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 blah. And so now, because of my story, people in the audience will relate. They're going to say, oh, I remember those days. I remember those struggles. I remember when I got started in what I'm doing. And again, it has them leaning in instead of leaning out. So we have somebody that just joined. We're going to see if you want to come up, but if not, you definitely can chat with us. But thank you for joining. Let me see. Eric, what if you don't have a story, or your story isn't related to your business? Well, I venture to say, Eric, that you do have a story, because somehow you got into the business you're in. And so my question would be, how did you make this decision? How did you get there? You do have a story on how you got there. And you know what? Your audience is already out there waiting for you. For all of you that's on this call, just know that you don't create your business and then try to find your clients. Your clients are already there, just waiting for you to launch your business. And that is going to be your tweetable quote for today. That's going to be your aha moment, is that your clients are already there and they're just waiting for you to launch your business. Your message is important and they're already waiting for you. And so, Eric, your clients are already there, and there's a whole group of clients that's going to relate to your story on how you decided to offer what you're offering. Now, if you can, and I don't know if you can, Eric, but please feel free to unmute. Would you like to share what your business is? I'm not sure if he's at a spot where he can. Yes.
Hello.
Eric.
Hey,
Yes.
sorry. My business is kind of like more of a resale store, or like have my own clothing brand. So it's not really kind of what you guys do. It's kind of more of like, how can I tell my story that I want you to buy these shoes because I think you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just kind of hard to, I mean, I could connect with people. But I feel like my story don't relate to my profession. Like, so I work third shift at Scott's Miracle Grow, so I'm doing something way different. So I'm in 3 different ballparks. So it's kind of difficult to kind of, like, I have audience out there, if that makes sense, but I also work third shift. So I worked last night, and I'm on a call this morning, so without sleep. So I kind of got to, like, I don't know, kind of find my lane. I know what I want to do, but it's kind of hard to get there.
Well, let me give you some insight. And Debbie said you started somewhere. Your clothing developed you. And thank you for that, Debbie. Eric, here's what I have to say. First of all, you could write an About Me page on I don't know where you're selling, if you're on Shopify or Etsy or on your own website, I'm not sure. But wherever you are, you could create an About Me page. And all you have to do is tell your story. Just say, this is who I am. I'm a third shift worker, and I've created this clothing line, and here are my goals. Here's what I want to do for the world. Here's what I want to bring to the world. And one of the best ways, if you're selling, and hit for anybody that's on this call that's selling an actual tangible product, not a service, but a product, like you're selling candles, or like Eric, you're selling clothing, come up with a way that you can donate to a cause. If you don't feel that you have a story on how you're helping humanity at large, come up with a cause or a way that you can donate and weave that into your story. And my goal is to sell enough clothing that I can donate to the needy, or I can donate to, and oftentimes it's to an earlier version of ourselves. So for example, now again, I'm not sure how to say your name, Bashunda. I see you're there with your hand up. Don't go away. I'm going to come back to you, but I'm going to share my screen one more time, and I'm going to show you this. Here on my website, you see, let me get some of this out of the way. You see the KathyBenner.com, then the Kathy story, and then here's become a member at one low price. For those of you that are on this call listening, you can become a member of my membership site for $25 a month. And a part of that I give away. And that is part of my story, is how I am helping an earlier version of me. And here, join us in giving. If I click on the join us in giving, this is, and you notice that I have it 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the fourth link on my website is how to join us, meaning the memberships, in giving. And I have 4 ways. And so I have a picture here. It's time to start living with passion. And here is the first way, is I have a scholarship program called the Stephanie Mila Jenkins Initiative. And I won't get into detail on all of these. I just want to show you that I have a giving page right on my website. It gives my business purpose and passion. So now you can learn about Foster Hub. I help with foster kids that are aging out of the system. I help with giving donations around the world, and for every membership. And then I give away here in our local chamber, I give away 2 scholarships a year to folks like me that are trying to get started in business and they don't know where to start. And so these are some ways that I can make my business have purpose and passion. And so my whole point in this is that even if you're selling a product, you can create a purpose and passion by donating to something that resonates with you. It doesn't have to be the same thing I donate to. It has to be something that resonates with you and who you are. Does that make sense? And all of a sudden, now you're purpose driven. Now you're purpose driven. And even if, now here's another aha tweetable quote. Even if no one donates, it changes how people perceive you. Does that make sense? Even if no one donates, it will change how the general public perceives you. Okay, let me look over here real quick. Don't forget to mention that working on your story can help you get clarified and focused. Yes, Mason, that is absolutely true. And Eric, I hope the conversation has helped you a little bit learn how you can actually create a story that drives your business with a purpose and passion. Vashunda, how about you? What is your comment or question?
Yeah, hi. I'm happy to be here. This is my first time. And hi, everyone.
Yes, hi. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. So my story is like, I was a teacher earlier. And after that, but I was very passionate about animations. So then I started, because I taught around 12 years, and then I started learning about animations and that. And then I started my business in that. So I was creating designs for the t-shirts.
Okay.
And then someone approached me about a business opportunity. And that was what you say, the aha moment for me. So when they approached, so basically the business is, it's in a financial domain where we create and protect the families about their wealth. And also, we give them the business opportunity if they want to do part-time or full-time.
Okay.
And here, yeah. So here, the main thing is that we want everyone to know how financial security is very, very important. We should not land up after a certain year, oh my God, where are we? We should have thought it earlier. So yeah, that is my main goal here. And this is my first time. I really don't know much about this event. So yeah, this is my story. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And thank you for sharing your story. So you see where she has a story. So I encourage all of you to create your story. Now, here's what I want to say, and we're going to do a little segue because, and again, I'm just going to go back to, and I always share my screen because that makes more sense here. When you come back to the kathybinner.com and come across, and if you click on the more button, you'll see this entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. This is where we are today. And when you come into the entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, we are actually, I'm talking about this course. And this is what I want to show everyone, because when I open up the course, I want to show you where we are headed. And then we're going to do a little segue here to a different topic. But in the course, we started off talking about your VPS. And so that was January. Then here we're talking about your storytelling is your marketing. And then, and the reason I'm doing this is because this is my little segue. This will make sense on what we're doing next. Then next month, we're going to talk about your serving is selling. Once you know what your VPS is, and once you've worked on your story, your little hero's journey, now we're going to say, okay, I've got my product. I've got my story. I know what I'm going to offer to the world, but I don't know how to get it out there. I don't have an audience. And remember, I said your audience was already out there. You just don't know where they are, and they don't know where you are. So here's what we're going to talk about next month is how to pick somebody that's in the same lane as you, that have the same audience that you're looking for. And I want you to list 5 of those. This is your homework assignment. List 5 folks that are in the same lane you're in. And then I want you to make some connections to serve them, but with nothing in return. And let me give you an example. I picked 5 folks that I wanted to serve, and I reached out and made the connections. And 2 of the 5 gave me a warm welcome. Like, hey, glad to have you in the group, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's a Facebook group. Maybe it's an in-person meetup group in your area. But 2 of the 5 gave me a very warm welcome. Okay. That narrowed down my field to 2. So the other 3, I didn't erase. I just kind of put them on the back burner. So now I've got the 2 that gave me a very warm welcome. Then I started looking, how can I serve these 2, I'll call them gurus in my lane? How can I serve them? And the one gal, and Sherry and Ruth and several on the call will appreciate this because they know who she is. This one gal, she's in Miami, Florida, right outside of Miami. And she was just heart-centered, which you'll notice here on my business plan, adding more heart to your business. So I start with that. And this gal was so heart-centered, and I just really leaned in because she told her story. Okay. I saw what her message was to the world. I related to her story. I was leaning in, and I was looking, how can I serve her? And so I just started showing up every time she was online. I just would always try to add value, never mentioning what it was that I do, or that, I wasn't salesy at all. I was just there to uplift her. Next thing you know, and Sherry too, next thing you know, we're kind of holding hands, and I've been a published author in a couple of her collaborative books. Sherry's been published in her books, and we now are traveling to Miami here in the next few weeks, and we're going to actually spend, a lot of time with her. And she's become a close friend. She travels to see me. I travel to see her. We are together a lot. And the only thing that happened is that I leaned in to help serve her. And now her entire client base knows who I am. And I showed up without having an agenda of trying to sell anything. And a ton of her folks have bought my programs because all of her folks know who I am. And then some of my folks have bought her programs because all of my folks know who she is. So you see how your serving is selling because you're showing up as your authentic self. Then we're going to go from there into how to lay out your website. And again, how to make it kind of a story down the page. And again, I'll just hit this real fast. It's the key is clarity on how to build a better business on your website. For you to write your website, you have a character and the character has a problem, and the character meets a guide who gives them a plan to call them to action, to help them avoid failure and end with their success. And that's the hero's journey. You're helping somebody else make their hero's journey by your products and services. So then you have to say, what kind of offers am I going to create? And this is my big segue. When you're creating an offer, you have to create an offer that your audience will love. So you're going to have your first base offer, which is going to be kind of a freebie. So they can kind of like the Jimmy Dean sausage. They get to taste first before they buy. And then you're going to have a second base offer. And then you're going to create a killer third base offer. And finally, your home run package. And each of these are a different level in price. And again, we're not going to talk about price today. We're not going to talk about all that. But all of that has to do with who your audience is as to where your price points are going to be. And then you're ready to put all of that together to make it flow like a funnel. And then you're ready to start advertising. So now you can blog to point people back to all your products and services. You can podcast to point people back to all your products and services. And the fast, easy way to reach a ton of people is public speaking. Remember, I talked about those chamber lunches and whoever needs a speaker to point people back to your products and services. Doesn't matter whether it's a service or whether you're selling candles. You can do this with every single product. So that's where we're headed with all this. And so I'm going to stop sharing. And is there any comments or questions at this point? Because Mason said, sadly, he had to leave. Nice to meet everyone. So the reason that I'm going to ask this, and we're going to make a segue now, is that one of the products and services, and you can plug it in as your freebie, you can plug it in as your first base, your second base, your third base, or even your home run, depending on your price point, is creating a 5-session mastermind or a 5-session masterclass. And so Linda has prepared a 5-session, and last month she did her first session. And this month she is going to do her second session. So for those of you that want to stay on and participate in her session, this is simply one of her products and services that she has created. And I want to invite all of you, whatever product or service you create, I want to invite you to share it with this group and practice on us before you put it out there to the world. That's what we're here for. Okay. So with that, I want to ask if there are any aha moments, questions, comments before I turn it over to Linda, and so that everybody understands what it is that we're doing. Any comments, questions? Aha moments? Yes, Vashonda.
Yeah, as you say, you need to build that trust. Trust is very important because immediately you can't talk to anyone and say what you have to offer. Understand their pain points, talk to them, meet them 2 or 3 times, and later on you can, and don't be so greedy, understand, do something good work for them. This is what I feel. Yeah.
I show up and serve every day, and I am at a place because, and Christy will get this, Sherry, I know will get this, I know Linda, Estella, I show up every day, and because I have my base covered with my real estate holdings, my rental income coming in is my base. I don't want to say I don't care, but let me say it I'll say it like that so you get the point. I don't care whether anybody buys my membership program or not. Now, I do care because I want folks to take their next best step, but I'm not depending on that to pay my bills. You see where I'm going with that? So I can show up and just give as much as I want. And it shows. People say, I've never been on a call before where somebody wants to give away so much. And it shows because I'm at a place now which is why I changed passive income coach to passive income mentor, is that I love it when somebody takes the next step. I love it when the light comes on for somebody else and they go, now I know what to do. I love that piece of it. And so that's where I find my sweet spot. And like Mason said, the more you're authentic, the more people will actually relate to you and join in. And so I encourage all of you to be a member in my membership site, because we give away most of the membership site once you're a member, and you can put that on your website, you know, that you're a part of that as far as your giving. So I would love for folks to join, but it's not going to make a difference in my month-to-month income if you do or don't. Does that make sense to everybody? So I hope you heard that the way I intended it to be. Ashley, your hand is up. Yes.
So the one thing that I was going to say that I've learned when I verbally share kind of my story, and to be honest, I would say there was more than one aha moment, but each one brought a shift that needed to happen. But the biggest thing that I've noticed through it is, you care about your aha moments and you care about your story, right? And if you have, especially if you have a story where maybe you've gone through trauma and things like that, they're very impactful and you want to help somebody else. When they don't receive it or they act like it doesn't matter, it's a hard moment to get past. And you have to realize that, I guess it's the simplicity is, you can lead a horse to water, you cannot make them drink. And so you can't, take it as an insult. I was a single mom for a long time. I had 2 little girls. I had no money. I have a horrible,
I feel you, girl.
I'm like, the list can just keep going and going. And then when I see people and I meet people and I have that conversation with them and I start to tell them a little bit, at first it was like, why do I even bother? Why do I even bother to help you? Because you're just going to act like you're going to be so rude. So, that was the biggest thing that I've learned. And I think that's part of what stopped me from doing some of the things that I've thought about doing, was just, do I want to waste my time for somebody to act like it doesn't matter?
Okay. Now let me talk to that for just a moment. I don't know how much stuff comes down the pike, whether it's in my emails or whether it's phone calls or it's in meetups. There's a ton of good stuff out there. But because we're so overwhelmed with everything coming at us, sometimes I probably don't respond to something that's really, really, really good because I literally just can't consume any more of that. And so the other person may think, well, Kathy certainly didn't care about my message. And it's not that I didn't care. It's just for that moment. Maybe in a different moment, I would be more open to it. I would be more available to hear it. And so don't stop your message because you think it's not being received. And here's what I've learned. I've been doing this for about 4 years, and about 2 years in, I was right where you're talking about, Ashley. And I was thinking, I'm putting a lot of effort into this and I don't seem to be helping anybody move the needle. So why am I working this hard to do this, a lot of this for free when nobody's really moving the needle in their own lives? But then I kind of relaxed into it and I started, just, okay, I'm just not going to push so hard. And so I was out at a restaurant and people were like, oh my gosh, Kathy, I follow everything you do. I listen to all your videos. And I'm like, you do? Really? I didn't know that. And all of a sudden, the more that I just kind of relaxed and listened, I realized I was making a much bigger impact than I had ever realized. People were listening, people were watching, people were tuning in to my podcast and listening to those videos that I record. And I was making a difference. And that inspired me to keep going, because I did reach that point where I thought I wasn't making a difference, but I was. So, and you are too, just so you know. Those people that you think aren't listening or watching, they're listening and watching, Ashley. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're making a difference. And I go onto different websites and I see that some of the folks that have been following me for a while, they're quoting me on their website. I'm like, really? I said that. You're quoting me. And so it just let me know that what I'm doing is making a difference. And what you're doing is making a difference too. Yeah, Estella, did you have your hand up, sweetie? Estella, are you there? I see at the top.
Here. I'm
Yes.
here.
Did you have your hand up?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I saw at the top where it says Estella has raised her hand, so I didn't know. Okay. Now I want to turn it over to Linda. So please stay on with us. Linda is going to lead us through one of her products, which is her 5 sessions. And this is session number 2. I'm going to let her tell you all about it. And so please stay on and make notes. What she's going to show us how to do on a 5 session is not only how to do it, but I want her to give us a little bit of a backstory on how she decided to put it together and how she's decided what platforms to use and that sort of thing. So Linda, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, so you'd like a little overview of like how I'm structuring it before I get into it?
Yeah, for those that are listening, it'll help them know what it is you're doing and how you decided to make this one of your products.
Oh, the product or the challenge or what?
Yeah, I mean, how did you decide if you're going to do a 5-day? Because you can do all kinds of products and services, and this is your 5-day challenge.
Yeah, okay.
Or 5-session challenge.
Yeah, 5 session in here. So I have a course, which is called the Legacy of Love Project, and I help people create their own personal end of life plan so that they can be a blessing to their loved ones instead of a burden. And I decided to create a 5-day challenge, and I'm doing that in bits and pieces here, 1 piece per month. And I will actually be doing the challenge in real time the week of Valentine's Day. So it'll be 5 days in a row there. And the idea is to give people some valuable information that is relevant to my course. And then if they wish to learn more, get more involved, they can. However, they will get value by attending just the 5 days if that's what they wish to do. So I'm going to be putting it out there on social media and via Eventbrite and letting people know that they can enroll. I have a little registration form. They can just enroll and give me their email address and they'll be part of the challenge. Then there'll be replays available for their convenience in case the time slot isn't good for them, or like one day just, kind of blows up in their world. They'll have access to the replay. Is there anything else you'd like me to cover? I'll be having the meeting over Zoom. So most people these days are pretty comfortable with that. Anything else you think I should cover on that part?
How did you decide how to price it once you launch it for your own clients and not necessarily inside this call? How did you decide to do your pricing?
Well, I decided to do the challenge itself as a free thing. And that way more people would be open to checking it out. And then if they decide that they're interested in doing more, the course is a paid item, and I base the value on the amount of value that I feel that it brings to the user, the member. I based it on how very much money can be saved by doing this with me, and how much stress and anxiety and overwhelm can be completely avoided for them and for their family by doing this with me. And those were just some of the factors that went into play.
So for those of you that are listening, note that I'm going to sum up what she said in a nutshell. She entered the conversation in her clients' minds instead of making her clients enter the conversation in her mind. So when you're putting together your products and services and you're putting together your price points, enter the conversation in their minds as to where they are. You have to meet them where they are. Don't expect them to meet you where you are. Because remember, you're ahead of them And that's why you're offering this course, product, service, whatever. So you have to meet them where they are. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, Linda.
Okay, so for those who were here last month for day one, we were kind of laying the groundwork on why all of this is important, why it matters. And we shared a bunch of stories that were honestly attention grabbing, and some of them were heartrending, and some of them were kind of hair raising as we think back on what some of those stories were. And they were all real, that happened to real people and real families. And it just helped kind of solidify why it matters that we go ahead and take a look at some of these matters now. For those of you who don't know my story, I was really caught in the swirl when my husband was very ill with diabetes, and his health continued to deteriorate, and more parts of his body were just being like knocked out by the diabetes. And so when you're in that kind of a situation, if you don't have some of these things in place in advance, there is no time, there is no bandwidth, there is no energy to try to do anything proactive. You're just coping minute by minute, day by day. And a lot of us have encountered something like that with a loved one, a parent, a grandparent, or whatever. That's what we were covering on day one. Now today, as I help people with this, I have a 3-part framework that I use. It's preserve, design, and bestow. And today I'd like to talk just a little bit about the preserve part of that. As we know, there are a lot of different moving parts in assets that we want to preserve. We've spent a lifetime working hard. We may have accumulated some money, some real estate, some valuables, and we want to make sure that our wishes will be honored. And there are several legal documents that are vital. So I'm going to skip over the things that you might think of quickly, like bank accounts, insurance policies, and all that. And I just want to focus on a few of these really key documents. I'd like to take a really quick informal poll and ask you all if there was one document that you think should be the one that you would get into place first. What do you think that would need to be?
I would think a will.
Anybody else?
I agree. A will.
Yeah, I agree. A living will, in a sense, what happens to my home, my kids, my animals,
Mm-hmm.
and then my business, but that would be my first. It is my first.
Mm-hmm. Any other votes on that? So it looks like the wills have it. However, I would propose to you that there is a document that you should put into place even before the will, which of course is an extremely important document. And that document that you need, like right now, if you don't already have it, is your power of attorney. And the reason for that is if something happens to you today, you become ill, Lord forbid, you're in a car accident or anything where you would be incapacitated, you're still here now. Our goal is to make sure that you're going to be okay, that someone has been appointed who can speak for you. So that's why that's more important even than the will. And there's two things I'd like to say about this. One is most of us are people of a certain age, so we're all past 18. However, we may have children or grandchildren that it is vital that we speak up and make sure that they get a power of attorney, because the moment they turn 18, they are legally adults. So let's say they're in a college dorm and they get appendicitis or meningitis is moving through the dorm, being communicable. Parents and grandparents cannot swoop in and save the day by trying to speak for these young adults in the hospital, because they are no longer minors, and the HIPAA laws are such that they need to speak for themselves, or they need to have appointed someone. So, and also like a car accident, if they were out with their friends, something happened, they are adults. So please encourage anyone in your sphere to make sure that they get those documents in place. And what a lot of people don't realize is that the difference between the power of attorney and the will is that the power of attorney is only in effect while you're alive, and it expires the moment that you die. A will it's good to have it while you're alive, but it is of no earthly use until the moment that you pass away. And then it provides all of your wishes in writing so that someone can carry them out. One other thing I'd like to throw in about the POA is there's a kind of a financial version where people can do financial activities, take care of things on your behalf. And then there is a medical one where they're speaking on your behalf for medical services. You want to make sure that the person who's handling the medical for you knows what your wishes are. Like, are you willing to have a blood transfusion or a feeding tube or be on a ventilator for any reason? Being very clear with them in advance lets them act in accordance with the way that you view things. And on the financial side, sometimes people are afraid to put a POA into effect because they're afraid that, oh my goodness, I've just signed away all my rights and the person could just empty my bank accounts and run away with all my stuff. So there are actual laws and fiduciary requirements that are placed upon anyone who is the agent for your power of attorney, and they have to act in your best interests and actually can't empty your bank account and run off. And the penalties would be extremely severe if they tried. So I'd just like to give you that little bit of peace of mind as to how some of that works. And encourage you and those you love that if you don't have a POA yet, to please go ahead and get one so that you can be protected and your assets can be protected if you're incapacitated. So I'm going to take a quick sip. Any thoughts on this? Was anybody surprised at that suggestion from me?
I wasn't surprised because I took care of my mom and also Mark's dad at the same time. And we even took it a step further and did an entire trust. And then inside the trust with the attorney that we wrote the trust with, or who wrote the trust for us, all of that was kind of on a checklist for him. And he had the medical POA, he had the financial POA, he had the will, he had the living trust, he had, and all of that he kind of check marked off. And so the good news was that we were aware enough to actually have that done before they passed. And the reason was because we had a couple of parents, my dad and Mark's mom, pass without all that. So like you, we learned the hard way.
Yeah. I was fortunate we had the will and the POA and all that in place. Somehow by our chinny chin chins, we managed to have that done before things really got dire. But as far as a lot of other proactive things, we just couldn't make it happen.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Yeah. So when it comes down to the will, then that is putting your wishes in writing so that they can be carried out. And we're going to limit our discussion today for the purposes of time to talking about some of your assets. So you have physical assets, which would be like bank accounts, insurance policies, deeds for real estate, titles for vehicles, those kinds of things, collections of jewelry or guns or cameras or whatever. but there are also digital assets. And I think for a number of us in this group, that is a really relevant thing to talk about. You have things like online only bank accounts, smart contracts, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, cryptocurrency. You also have your assets in the cloud. You have domain names that you maintain and don't want to lose. You may have a blog with a whole lot of content online. You may have books and and magazine articles that are like published online. There are so many things, and of course emails, and even various types of accounts that you maintain online, subscriptions for tools that you use. So there are so many moving parts in our world now as business people, perhaps online content creators, authors, speakers. So we want to make sure that those things are protected. And the legal world is trying hard to catch up with what is happening in technology. And most people are not aware of a law that was passed. It's passed in different states at different times. Ohio may have been a little bit ahead of us. I don't know what year this law was passed, but in Pennsylvania, it was passed in 2020 and went into effect in January of 21. And the net effect of this is it gives your executor or anyone who is an appointed fiduciary on your behalf to have access to your digital accounts. And what's important is, at least in my state, the rights that this law gives don't just naturally like fall on all of us. It has to be put into your will with very specific terminology to give the access to people who are speaking on your behalf. So the name of the law is RUFADA, and that stands for, I'm going to move my screen here, Revised Uniform Fiduciary Access to Digital Assets Act. So all you really have to know is that gives people access to your digital assets. And it was created because in the past, people acting on your behalf did not have the right to access your digital assets when you're gone. And they also wanted to create a way that the companies that are called custodians of your assets would be able to act within certain rules and guidelines to disclose your assets properly to the right people and people who are allowed. So custodians might be Google or Yahoo or Apple. It's the people that have your stuff stored in the cloud. And their job is to protect you and to protect your assets. Their job in the past has not been to be talking to anyone else. And it used to require getting a court order in order to do so. So this law is a big help in certain ways. It can still be a hassle, but it's way better than it used to be.
Linda, what is that law again? What's the acronym?
RUFADA, RUFADAA. And that stands for the Revised Uniform Fiduciary Access to Digital Assets Act. And actually, since it's on my screen, I can jump over to the chat.
Copy and paste it over there.
I saw you put the acronym in, so that's helpful, but there's the whole dang thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh. Now I came out to host and panelists, so I'm you go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm just going to copy and paste it to everyone.
Fix me. Thanks. I wasn't paying attention to that part. So there's something that's really important to be aware of with this. And that is that because it's a law and because it's a procedure and all the things, there's actually what they call an order of operations in which it gets applied. And what that means to you and me is like you might create a will and say, like I might say, I want Kathy to be the person that handles all my digital assets when I'm gone. Well, that's all lovely. However, that's only number 2 on the order of operations in the pecking order, if you will. Something that takes even higher precedence than my will is what they call online tools. So Google has an online tool, Apple has one, Facebook has one, Yahoo has one, and I'm sure that other companies will gradually follow suit. And what that means is, like, if you go to the particular online tool for Google, you can specify, like, I want this person to be able to access my email. Somebody else can access maybe only my YouTube account. Maybe somebody else can access my Google Drive, or I can take one person and tick off several different things that I want them to be able to access. So the net effect of that is, if I select someone in the Google online tool and I accidentally select somebody else in my will, what is in my will is irrelevant. It's only what's in the tool. So you always want to make sure that you pay attention to who you've put in the different places and make sure that you're not kind of circumventing yourself or shooting yourself in the foot. So that's the order of operation. It's the online tool itself, if it exists, then your will or other legal document. And then if neither of those have been filled out or enacted in any way, would anybody like to guess what is the third tier in that order of operations?
I'm going to guess next of kin. If you didn't have it in your will, or you didn't have it actually in the tool, it would be a spouse. And if no spouse, it would be maybe a child. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Okay. Anybody else have a thought? What might be the third level? I don't think we have any guesses. So sadly, Kathy, that one isn't going to work. What kicks in at that point, if you haven't proactively specified anything, is the terms of service agreement that you never read when you created your account. And you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
That freaking wall of words
that you just said, I agree.
Yep. That little teeny tiny box that you can't go any further till you check that box. That's what's going to guide everything. And that rule, I mean, think about any contract that you've really ever seen. It's written to protect and serve the person that wrote it, not the person who agreed to it. So that's part A. And part B is their agreement is with you, not with your next of kin, not with your executor. So pretty much your family and everybody is SOL, if that's what's kicking in at that point. So now you're basically looking at like a court order to access your stuff. So talk about hair raising in week 1. Now we're hair raising today.
This is so important for all of us on this call that are creating online content. This is huge.
Mm-hmm. It really is. So what I would just like to say is I wanted to keep it like very focused today on these very few key ideas. I would encourage everyone to make sure you have a power of attorney, get a will. There are different ways you can get a will. That you can get like a basic one, or if you have a more involved situation, in those cases, you're going to need, very specific guidance from an attorney for your specific situation. But regardless, these are very important and proactive steps that each of us can take, doing it now while we're in a sound mind and a sound body is a much better way to deal with them than waiting until we're in a hospital bed trying to scratch out a will at the last minute. And for all of us who are content creators and are very busy in the digital world, the work that we've done to share our ideas and our guidance and our wisdom, we don't want that to go poof. If anything happens to us, we'd like it to be shared. You know, our heirs may be able to continue to propagate that for us and continue our influence in the world. So, are there any questions at all from anyone?
Is it hard to find where to access that online tool? Because I'm on so many different platforms just over the years. You know, I've added Instagram and I've added LinkedIn and I've got the Facebook and I've got, you know, Eventbrite and I've got Meetup. And after a while, you know, as you're building out a lot of your online tools, is it hard to find that section in all of those different, because I'm sure they're all different.
Yeah, they all use different wording. So you could try, like in your browser initially, use the name of the service and then use a word like legacy contact.
Okay.
You know, those and you maybe even use the word death, like access upon death. So just get creative with your searches. And if they have some kind of a tool, and you could even use the word online tool, you know, you could use a word like assign, or
okay,
it's just going to be a little bit of a game because there is no consistent naming of these things. And I see that Vasuda has her hand raised.
Yes. Go ahead, Vasuda. What is your question?
Yeah, hi. So, like, if we need a will, which company is it? Which company offer? Yeah, if we need a estate, if I want to do my estate planning, which company is that?
Sure. Well, there's one that you can get a will, like a basic will, like with a really reasonable rate, and that is Legal Shield. Estella and I are both in that. And it's remarkable in that for $29.95 a month, you can have access to attorneys, and as part of your membership, you can have a will, a POA, and a medical directive written at no extra cost. So
Okay, so
it's incredible.
So you're saying it's monthly, it's 29, right?
Right. But if you think about it, what
you have ongoing services. Yeah, you have ongoing services forever with as long as you're paying the $29, your legal services are always in your back pocket.
Yeah, so you actually have an attorney on retainer for $30 a month. Whereas if you went to someone just like and went into an office, you would pay for 1 hour basically what you pay for 1 whole year of access to an attorney. And I can tell you that I paid way more than that to have 2 wills and POAs written by an attorney personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but this is an ongoing charge, right? $29.99.
Yeah, $29.99 a month.
Okay.
But they'll actually do your will and POA and all that, like when your membership starts.
Okay.
If you want to go that route.
Yeah. Got it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. Elise, you made a comment in the chat. Can you share your comment?
Yeah, I was just saying that this is great information, Linda. It's actually scary how realistic it is that all of your work can go poof. It's just going to resort back to those terms and conditions that really you scrolled through with the quickest of quickness and click that button so that you could just get moving because, you know, we're busy. And especially as online content creators, it's not just as you're getting older, like, you know, being young and even all the work you're putting in now. That's just wow. Great information.
Yeah. And the agreement is with you, not your heirs.
Right.
So
Right.
they don't care about your family wanting whatever it is.
Good to know. I have some homework to do, Linda.
Yeah, I worked with a coaching client who was up in years and had health issues and had let go of her VA, virtual assistant. And when her passwords were given back to her, a lot of them didn't work. And so she had so much of her intellectual property in the cloud that she couldn't access, and actually couldn't even like operate her Apple products very well, because she couldn't log in as the admin and add an app or anything. So all of these things are so vital for us as digital creators.
Now, I'm going to segue just a minute here. For all of you, if you hadn't noticed, Linda used somebody else's story to help you as an audience connect to her topic instead of her own story. She told a story about a client. That works almost as well as your own story when you're marketing. When I say your storytelling is your selling, which is what we're going to talk about next month, it made all of us lean in when we heard about, oh my goodness, look what happened to this person. So I'm just going to mention that because sometimes people use the story and we don't even realize that that's what they're doing. And I just wanted to bring to your attention that that's what she did just now.
We can all learn from it for sure. Learn from seeing something done, and then we can all apply it to our own businesses.
Yep, absolutely. Linda, thank you so much. This was very, 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 very informative. I again, like I said, I have homework to do. I need to go back now because I've got so many different platforms, and of course, then there's this other whole thing, which we haven't even talked about, is where are you all keeping your passwords and all of, how are you keeping track of all of that, so that even if you had somebody listed under any of your platforms of having access, how would they even know where to go? Do they know where to go? Do you have that stored somewhere where you can hand that over, or the person that you made your contact, your access contact, do they know where to find that? And Sherry says Bitwarden is great. Yes, good, good, good. Now, all of us that are still on the call, there are 9 of us left, and I appreciate you, all of you, staying on. And so the first thing that I want to do is I want to ask, does anybody have a product or service that they want to highlight today? And then I'm going to show you a little trick on how to highlight that. Does anybody have a product or service that they are marketing right this moment? Sherry.
We just launched the Tier 1 Interventions podcast. It goes live tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Okay, so Sherry has a podcast she's marketing. Anyone else, even if it's an affiliate link, or, and by the way, and some of you on this call have already gotten an email. My academy now has an affiliate link, and I sent out emails giving you your affiliate link. So anyone you send over to the academy, you now get paid for sending them over. So, so that's
Thanks,
what
Elise.
I'm marketing this month. Anyone else have a product?
My challenge goes live Valentine's week.
Okay, so Linda has her challenge, which she talked about today. We all saw how valuable it was, so feel free to tap into her challenge. Elise, how about you?
I am building websites and courses for creatives.
Okay, so Elise is marketing her products and services. Anyone else? Yes, Debbie.
Hopefully by the end of the week, I will be launching my blog,
Okay.
Debbie's Organic Homestead, with this year starting the farming aspect, the getting ready and everything, of which we just started this past weekend.
Yep.
So yes, it'll be that.
Now, for those of you that are still on, if anyone else has a product or service they want to share, raise your hand. But I want to show you how to use another tool. It's just a tool. And I'm talking about artificial intelligence, AI. Now, for those of you that are on this call, some of you may say, I want to use it. I need another helping hand. I need another person in the office, and AI is going to be my extra person that I can hire. And of course, the basic AI, the chat GPT, is at no charge. Then you can even go to their new level 4, which is their plus, and it's $20 a month. So it's up to you. I just have the basic. I don't have the plus. And I want to show you that today, because some of you may say, yes, I'm going to use that. Some of you might say, that's cheating. I'm not going to use AI. I'm not going to use it to help me write. I'm going to do it all on my own, because I think AI is going to get out of control and out of hand. Well, let me tell you this. AI is coming whether you're on board or not. So learn to live with it, even if you're deciding not to use it. But Chat GPT does for your writing what calculators have done for our math. And let me say that again. Chat GPT is going to do for your writing what calculators have done for our math. It doesn't take over the world. It doesn't solve every math problem out there, because you still have to know what to put into the calculator to get to the answer that you want. You still have to have a knowledge of math to use the calculator. It just helps you get there faster. And that's what Chat GPT is going to do for your writing. It's going to help you get there faster. You still have to proof it. You still have to tweak it. You still have to say, oh, that isn't anything close to what I was wanting. I have to start over and give it a different prompt. But I'm going to show you something today that might be helpful, because, and bear with me here, we all have, I got to go back to find my story. We all have products and services that we want to offer, and we're so busy. I don't know about you, but it just seems like everybody in my world wants a piece of me, whether it's the kids or the grandkids or the spouse or the, whatever's going on. And then of course I'm self-managing 28 properties. And so constantly I have a tenant needs this, or a contractor needs that, or the bank wants to know, if I could submit some more paperwork for this, or the insurance company wants something for that. And it's constant. And so I have all of this paperwork. And then when I go, oh, I don't have time to market today. I don't have time. That's where Chat GPT can be your partner in time. And so let's say that this is my story. I've not done this. I'm doing this in real time in front of you. It may be a fluke, but I wanted to try this. I'm going to try it in front of all of you. I am going to copy my story. You've seen my story.
Kathy, don't do all of it at one time. Just do a segment.
Oh, because it won't take all of it.
Oh, it'll take all of it, but you're not going to it won't go well. Okay.
How far should I go, Sherry?
I would just do one segment at a time and see if it would reword the paragraph for you.
Well, I kind of want to give it a conclusion. So I want to, let's see where I want to go. I'm just going to go that far. This is just going to be a test. Okay. Now I'm going to go over to my chat. And what I want to say is write a Facebook post about my story. Because remember, your storytelling is your marketing, right? So I just put in a little bit of my story, and let's see what the post is going to look like. Let me scroll down. All right, this is what Chat GPT, it already gave me some little graphics here. Let me tell you a quick story. A single mom, blah, 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 sat me down. But here's the twist. Learned along the way, turning the tide, new beginnings, life stories. All of a sudden, it gave you your Facebook post. All you did was copy and paste it in there. I was a single mom juggling 2 minimum wage jobs, living paycheck to paycheck with no safety net. My car was on the brink and retirement seemed like a distance. Do you think anybody reading that might connect, might lean in? They might say, oh my, and then my life took an unexpected turn. Remember, we love stories. We want to see how it turns out. We love the unfolding of the story. It's why we watch movies. It's why we watch reality TV. We love to see how it turns out. So now as people are leaning in and they're reading, you know, little did I know this is the impact it was going to have. Now on the downward side, but here's the twist. Here's the darkest moments lead to the brightest opportunities. You see how chat just summed it up for me. And so now life is full of unexpected twists, and I'm grateful for the lessons learned along the way. Turning the tide, new beginnings, life stories. That's my post. Now I can either put a link, like to learn more, go to kathybinner.com. And that's my entire post. But wonder if I did the whole thing and I said, now rewrite this into a blog post with bullet points. And now I see, let's see what it gives me. Here's my blog post. I took one thing that I copied right off of my website and I asked chat to write me a Facebook post, and it did. Now I can use that under Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest. I can then paste that across all my social media. I don't even have to retype it. I just now tell chat, rewrite this into a blog post. Here's my blog post, Navigating Life's Unexpected Turns, a journey from corporate to nail tech. Now it takes me right through with bullet points right into my blog post. Now I can say, rewrite this as a magazine article. And I can do it again. Title, from corporate to creative, a single mom's unlikely career journey. Now it's a magazine article. Are you with me? Okay. Now rewrite this as an ebook. And there's my ebook. All right, what do you think? Comments, questions? Do you find this is helpful to get some of your content out there?
Nice job, Kathy.
I think
Okay.
ChatGPT is an incredible tool.
Elise.
Yeah, just wow. Really wow.
Now, it's not an end all. You're still going to go through that. You're going to edit. You're going to say, I want to expand in this area, or I want to, you know, maybe take this out. It's just a tool. Like your calculator is a tool for your math. It's a tool for your writing. But just know that if you've got the basic story, you can turn your story into your marketing. Yes,
And
Debbie.
what a starting point.
Yes, it's a great starting point.
Okay. I'm sorry. I missed because I heard Sherry say, don't do it all
right
at once. And I had a phone call come in at the same time, which I've been waiting for all day. And so I didn't see.
You didn't see where I got
where
my
you
basics.
started.
I went to my website under Kathy's story and I just copied the first like 4 or 5 paragraphs of my story and pasted it into chat. It's my
and
story.
Then you just elaborated from there.
Yeah. All I did is and let's see if I can find right here. I just went to my story, Kathy's story on my right here under Kathy's story on my website. And I just highlighted down 3 or 4 paragraphs. That's all I did. And I just copied this and I pasted it over here into chat. And then I kept saying, make a Facebook post, now make a blog post, now make a magazine article, now make an ebook. That's all I did. Now, here in the ebook, You see where it pretty much made me an ebook, but it gave me the outline. You see that? Breaking Boundaries, A Single Mom's Odyssey to Self-Discovery and Success. Table of Contents, The Struggle, A Glimpse into the Daily Grind. Well, it didn't write the ebook. It just said that's kind of an outline. So now you take this, and now I say, with the same information, write the details. And let's see what it gives me. Now, again, chat can go off the rails, and I'm just going to scroll down and see what it gave me. Yeah, see here, it talks about a single mom navigating the complexities of 2 minimum wage jobs, lack of financial security. See, it took it right out of my story. The struggle unveiled. As a single parent, it's no easy feat, and our heroine's journey begins. Now, you see where it's a tool. So if you're going to write this about you, you're going to have to go back and change the point of view. So let me say, can you, I'm talking to chat. Can you rewrite this in first person point of view from Kathy? Let's see what it does. And scroll down. Yeah, see, now it changed it right here. Now it actually wrote my first chapter for me. In the opening chapter of my story, I told chat to write it in first person in my point of view. So now in the opening chapter of my story, Breaking Boundaries, I invite you into the unfiltered reality of my life as a single mom. You see, I just told chat to rewrite it in first person in my point of view. So now the struggle unveiled. Life as a single parent, blah, blah, blah. My journey begins. You see where it actually wrote the chapter for me. Now, again, this is not end all. This is just a tool. Okay, so you're going to want to go back and edit that to make it your own. I'm just saying it's a great tool to help you produce content. Sherry.
So there's two things I wanted to share. One is there's a setting within ChatGPT that you can give it a bunch of information about you, that when it does all of its stuff, it already knows you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it will filter as it's generating material for you, and it will learn what you are looking for. There's some settings in there that you can do. Also, can I share my screen? I want to share what
let me share one
GPT made for me.
Let me share one last thing before we do
Sure.
that. Over here, you can see where you can add a new chat. As long as I keep writing in my current chat, it will remember what I told it to do. It'll remember that I said put it in my point of view, first person. And as long as I stay in this thread, it will continue to do what I ask it to do. If I start a new chat, then I have to give it all new prompts again. Okay, so I want to mention that once you do kind of have it set up, stay in the same thread if you want it to stay in its same frame of mind. Yes. Debbie, your question first before we go to Sherry.
Okay, thank you. What were the other, you mentioned Facebook posts, you said ebook. What else did you mention?
Blog and magazine article. But I started with the Facebook post, and I'll call it a social media post because I can use it on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, any social media that you're on, you can use that as your post, and it's got your story, and then you segue into whatever product or service that you're marketing this month. You see that?
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
So now you can just segue in a final sentence like, and this month I am going to have a 5-session masterclass, or this month I am going to, launch my brand new podcast. So it's whatever, or this month I now have affiliate links if anyone is interested in being a part of the academy. So see, you can segue in your last sentence to whatever it is that you're marketing, but it tells your story because your storytelling is your marketing. People aren't going to lean in. It goes back to that thing you hear all the time that people really, they don't care. They want to know that you care, you know, and so your story lets them know that you understand their plight. And that's what's going to make them lean in and say, hey, I think I do want to listen to her podcast. I do want to take her master class. I do want to be a part of the academy. You know, I do want to participate. And that's what makes folks lean in. And that's why your story is so important. And so once you get it across social media, you can make a blog post about it to point back to your products and services. You could make a magazine article about it to point back. You can make an ebook about it. And the ebook can be one of your products and services. You know, learn how to do this. And here's my ebook telling you basically, and you're starting with my story. Then you can use chat to help you write and fill out all the parts and pieces that you need to fill out. But it's a tool. Okay. All right, Sherry, go ahead and share your screen.
So I pay for ChatGPT, the next level. So I get ChatGPT 4.0 and I get Dolly, and Dolly made this, and I did some editing to it after I got it from Dolly, but Dolly created this logo for me.
Explain Dolly.
Dolly is the image department of ChatGPT. So it creates images for you. And one thing I've noticed about Dolly is it always spells things wrong. So tier 1 was spelled wrong, and the word interventions was spelled wrong. And so I got rid of interventions, and I took the main thing that it created, covered up what it spelled wrong in Canva, and I fixed it. And so this is not the logo for my podcast. This is the logo for my end screen.
Okay.
In YouTube. So anybody who sees my stuff in YouTube, the end screen is going to turn like this. But Dolly has been known to do better stuff than some of the other image creators. So you can create your own logos for your business and things like that, or different areas, like Kathy could have put her stuff in for her different lanes, and you can get a new logo for each one of those areas, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and again, it's a tool to help you develop and create. Linda, comment. You're on mute.
Like I said, get my hand down now. So Sherry's exactly right. A lot of these AI art type programs are notoriously horrible for anything relating to text. It's like, heaven forbid, you can't even read it. But taking it into Canva is super cool. And they have a tool in there. I think it's called Grab Text. And it will turn that mishmash of letters in that Dolly did, and it'll turn it into a text field, and you can edit it. So it's super cool.
Yeah, if you don't have a Canva account, get a free Canva account, get a free ChatGPT account. Those are going to be two of your best friends when you're a creator. And you can get the free version, and the free version will take you pretty far. Any other comments or questions? So aha moments from anyone. We've been on for a while today. I appreciate everybody staying on. 9 of us stayed on to the end. So thank you so much for that. It was great talking about storytelling. It was great listening to Linda with her 5 sessions. And this was session number 2 of her 5. Great information. It makes me want to go do my homework. And then we had just a real quick lesson on how to use ChatGPT to help us put together our stories. But it's so easy to get posting. Make some of your posts ahead of time, and pop them over. You know, if once chat writes it for you, pop it over into a document somewhere, either a Google Doc or a Word doc. Pop it over there and save it and name it. And when you get some free time, while you're already in there and chat already kind of knows your voice and knows what it is you're doing, you can crank out several and just save them. And now you've got, you know, a whole week's worth ready to post. And I don't know about you, But when you go onto Facebook and you see a lot of the same people all of the time, it's for a reason. And when I even travel around locally here in my hometown, if I just go to dinner, I oftentimes have tons of people in the restaurant that I have never seen before. I have no clue who they are. And they're like, "You're Kathy Benner. I see you on Facebook all the time." And I'm like, "You do?" And that's just because I'm consistent. So my aha for all of you is consistency is the key. You have to consistently post. And I just every morning I kind of have a little rhythm where before I even get out of bed, I'll do my posting because I already have it prepped from my chat GPT from earlier, and I can just go over and copy and paste and add a picture to it, and boom, my posting is done for the day. And it just keeps me out there consistently. Sherry, you wanted to share one more artificial intelligence, one more AI?
Yeah. So anybody who's doing video, longer form video, this thing called Opus Clips, I put in a video that I was going to do. It's 20 minutes long. Come on. We're on Zoom, so of course it's not going to share now, right? Come on, clear that.
I was looking to see, is there something I need to add to to allow you to do that? I'm looking.
Dashboard. Let's see if no projects. Okay, so it erased. No, yeah, here's my project. So this was originally 20 minutes, and I'm just going to scan quickly. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 59-second to 90-second clips right out of the video that are already have the words embedded like on a reel. So I've got reels, TikToks, and YouTube shorts. I got 13 of them ready to go.
So
in 3 minutes.
So what Sherry is saying is if you go to Opus Clip and put a full-fledged video in there, it'll create your short clips for you.
Yep.
That you can post. I love that. Give us what it is again, Sherry.
I'm doing that.
Okay.
Sherry's it's on the slow side on my cut and paste fingers.
Okay, I get it. Okay. Clip.opus.pro. So again, right now, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of them, they are honoring your short clip videos, your reels. That's what's getting a lot of mileage on a lot of those social media. And again, social media is going to be.
Yeah, and each one has a different length, just an FYI.
So we're gonna talk about social media, as we go down, build a better business, as we go through all the different products. And once we're ready to start advertising our products, we're going to talk about social media. And this is one of the huge ahas for social media, is that they are pushing forward and pushing out more to more of your audience when you have something in a video form instead of in a text form. And this is a way that you can take, like Linda's getting ready to do a 5-session. She can take one of her sessions and she can pop it into this clip.opus.pro, and it will give some clips that she can use as advertising to put out across her social media. It doesn't give away the farm. It just gives a little taste of what is in her courses that's going to make folks want to lean in. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. I want to find out from those of you that are still on today, what was your biggest aha moment? Did anybody have a big aha moment? There's still 8 of us on. Linda, any aha moments for you?
Well, I had to love the tip from your coach. It's easier to kiss when you're leaning in. I love that.
And that's the whole goal in your marketing, is you want folks to lean in instead of lean out. So yeah. Sherry, how about you? Any aha moments for you?
Linda, I was just we have an appointment to do a will here in another month or so. And I realized how unprepared I am to go to that meeting.
So you'll get a lot more mileage out of your meeting now that you know some of the things you want to address.
Yeah, and I asked Linda to share the link to her challenge in the chat.
Oh, I haven't created a challenge link. What I can do is give my link page, and I'll be getting a button there shortly. So let me do that.
Sure.
Perfect. Perfect.
And by the way, we only covered the tip of the iceberg. There is so much that we cover in the course, things that people don't even know that they should do. There's the amount that we cover is just incredible. So that's all.
Well, because at the end of the day, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. I love that.
And nobody else is covering this either.
Yeah. Vashuda, any aha moments for you, Vashuda?
Yeah, as you said, being consistent is the key here. And patience is also very, very important.
Yes,
Yeah.
consistency and patience. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And yes, chat GPT, it does wonders. I have been using it. And again, it depends upon you, how you frame it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The prompts you give chat makes all the difference. So play around with it so that it finally sounds like your voice. You want it to be in your voice. So yes, thank you for that. Ashley, how about you? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing here.
Okay.
So whenever you are writing it on ChatGPT, you need to have a hook. Okay, hook is very, very important. And then the content and the CTA, that is the call to action. And also when you're writing the description, you can even mention how many words you want. And if you need any hashtags, even that you can mention it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Ashley, how about you?
So there was just a couple of things. Being able to take that, it's like a long form video and make short snippets of it, fantastic. Because I have been really trying to work on my social media presence, but I really don't want to spend the hours and the time that it takes to take away from my family and everything else to do this. And so that's been a big struggle for me because I honestly, I don't really like being on social media that much. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do this again. So I really like that I can make one big thing and take some snippets out of it. And that's fantastic. And then the other thing was, so power of attorney, I never even thought about it. I have a daughter who's almost a senior in high school, just the idea that those things are coming. But mainly it's the will and it's the business pages. It's all the things that I never even thought that my husband would have to deal with if something happened to me. So yeah, it made me, I have lots of notes of things to look into now.
So Ashley, you've got a homework assignment too, from what I understand, same as me. I love it. Estella, how about you? Any aha moments?
Several.
Okay.
I really liked how you took that chat GPT and you were able to get so many different venues of content out of it. That was impressive. Also like what Sherry showed as well. How much is that program to get it to do the images for you, Sherry?
That Clip Opus Pro is
the first 2 hours are free, and then it was $9 a month or there's a sale on, right? There was a sale on, and I was able to get the premiere for $9.50 a month. But I had to pay for the whole year at the same time. But
I have a question.
I do know that it was like 9 or 16 a month. But I had gotten it on sale. I don't know if the sale's still on.
Do they have an affiliate link that we could purchase under your affiliate?
I don't know. It's a little on the new side. So let me look here.
Now, here's another aha for all of you. For what all of the different programs that you're in, a lot of times there is an affiliate link that you can advertise. It does not cost your client or your buyer any, sometimes it even gives them a discount, and it pays you if they click through on your affiliate link. So double check. A lot of the programs that you're using has an affiliate link and you just haven't searched for the affiliate link. So I'll mention that.
And then I would also say, this second time I've seen what Linda has done, and I'm just like blown away. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait till she does her class so I can.
I know, it's good stuff. I love it.
Kathy,
All
yes,
right.
they have one. I have to get it for you. I'll send you an email.
Sherry will give me her affiliate link for the clipopus.pro, and I'll post it. That way, all of you guys and gals can sign up under her affiliate. Elise, any aha moments from you?
I feel like Acela. It's always a plethora of moments that I'm just like, wow, I love being here. My aha is definitely going to be getting the clips out of a long video. That is super helpful because I do not like being on video. I don't like sitting down to do videos. It's just not fun. But just also just how you took Chat GPT. I think that one of the things we don't talk about enough is that a lot of people have the fear of AI, but it's really like understanding that you are still in control of the things, like the way that you were guiding it through the prompt. So it's not something to necessarily be afraid of. It's always just being cognizant of what you're putting in there, what you're taking out of it, and how you are using a tool, not, it doing everything for you. So great info as always. Thank you.
I love it. All right. I just want to say thank you for everybody that's been on board today. The sun's coming in my window here when a certain way I see the sunlight on my face in the video. So I got to lean it forward a little bit. Anyway, thank you so much for being on today. I appreciate everybody hanging in there with me. We've covered a lot of territory. For those of you that signed on, it's the same Zoom link every single Monday at noon, a different topic. Today was all about how to build a better business, and also working through our offers with Linda demonstrating how she is using the 5-session as one of her offers. So thank you everyone for being on. The recording will be at kathybinner.com under the Entrepreneurs and Solopreneurs tab, and you can go back to the replay if you want to listen to any of this or see how it was done. So with that, we are going to go, and we'll see everyone next time. So thanks for being on with us today. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.